Hello all, welcome again for DICOM and FHIR track, where we are going to discuss today mainly on this mapping of DICOM SR and DICOM uh, images to imaging study and observation resources. Here, I would like to focus mainly on the IG proposal, whatever HS7 International has provided. I'll share my screen. Um, Let me know if you are able to see the screen. You can see the screen? Any
Yeah, we
feedback
can.
would help. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the interest of people who have joined today and they have not gone through the previous recording, maybe I can quickly summarize in 1 minute. So what we are going to do is a couple of workflows which is aligned to DICOM IHE AIR AI results, where different actors we are going to assume, and we are going to integrate various actors for a workflow where we will send the images to DICOM. We will be sending the images to AI application as well as a pack system, and AI will generate DICOM SR, which will be sent to packs, and from this packs we will fetch the relevant images and DICOM SR. Our prime focus will be on the DICOM SR, and we will also, as a second activity, we will also do the imaging study mapping as well. So this fetching using DICOM web interfaces, we get the details. We'll use template mapping. I probably change this Scriban to generic template mapping. Okay, so there was a question from Venu that we can also use the liquid.js kind of a thing. Yes, we could go with any template programming, as long as we are working on specific mappings and all of us agree on this mapping. In fact, it is also, as I said, it is from international draft IG, where we can take it and we can also enhance it actually if needed, or at least that would be the starting point. We take that one and then we do that mapping, and then generate those resources like imaging study and observation resources, and put it in FHIR server, happy FHIR. Okay, it could be any happy server actually, where you should be able to, any EMR implementation should be okay. We'll use happy, and we should be able to display those findings in an application. Worst case, we even if we query using Postman, and display should be fine actually. But I'm still requesting one of the starter track to, probably they can provide some kind of a viewer. We can use it, or we can also use some OSS there. Okay, so the focus is this blue box. If you just see, where we will be getting the resources like images and DICOM SR, and doing a mapping. Now let's zoom a bit on this mapping. Okay, let me just sorry. Yeah. So I'll send you this link. Okay, this is the IG link actually. So if you just go to this, I'll start from beginning. Yeah. Yeah, so this is basically this mapping of DICOM SR to FHIR. This is really in a draft state actually. It is not published yet, and there are some meetings going on to finalize this IG actually. So here you can find the details like what is the corresponding field in TID 1500 in the DICOM structured resource maps to the corresponding resources in FHIR. It'll give you a detail. For example, if you just quickly take a look at this, I will go in detail, but you can if you want to do it at high level, how does it look? So this is how the mapping would look actually. So on the left side, you already have a DICOM SR content. On the right side, you have the FHIR resources. So I probably, before I show this one, I'll show you high level. There is a nice diagram actually, which I just want to take that. Yeah, this is a good diagram to explain. See, if you just see, you have in the last meeting, you have seen how a DICOM SRTID 1500 format is there. So if you want to have a quick glance, you can just see that we have various field. There will be a structured report, and you have fields like what is a language, what is observation context, what is a procedure, and then the measurements, which, for example, AI system, they will also generate this planar ROI and volumetric ROI that we will go through as and when we have the corresponding DICOM SRs. But for now, I think you can, if you want to zoom it, you can see that imaging measurement has this measurement group, and measurement group has this further details where you can say that it has details like what is the procedure reported, what are the different observations, like what is the lesion, what is the type of lesion. So all these things will be there. This is one example. Last time I had shown you prostate cancer. This time I'm showing you lung cancer one. So if you just see this lung cancer one, so it has very detailed one where it has multiple measurements, which talks about what are the different pulmonary nodules on the lung, what is the size of that nodule, and what are the different dimension parameters which will help to uh, identify and measure these nodules actually. So this is what is with respect to a DICOM SR actually. And now if I just map this DICOM SR back to our FHIR resources, we see that, sorry, yeah. So you see that you have, oh, I'm sorry, I'm doing a mistake. Okay, you see that this DICOM SR imaging measurements is getting mapped to observation resource. So whatever I just explained, the lung nodules, pulmonary nodules, those things will be represented as observation resources. There are some other resources as well which are mapping in the DICOM SR. It could be that patient, because it has the patient details. It has also has a practitioner details, who is taking care of that patient, a device from which modality and all the data was sent actually. It has imaging study, which as a secondary thing we will also do on the imaging study. And there is also a new resource which is introduced. It is not there in R4. It is still under construction, is this imaging selection. This they have done recently to provide a link between images and the observations actually. The observations and the corresponding images will be linked using this imaging selection actually, where we can provide the details about the images details. It is also mapped. If you are from DICOM world, you should be aware that there is something called kin and cos actually. So it's basically key images you can highlight, and those key images you can map it using imaging selection. But for this connectathon, we'll not focus too many resources. We have only 2 days actually, so to take care of this one. So our prime focus would be observation and then imaging study. Rest all resources, we'll take it as it is, and we will kind of use the predefined one because we don't have so much of time as well. So let's zoom in into this observation stuff, and then I will zoom into imaging study. You can stop me if you have questions in between. If not, I will continue. So the first one is the summary one. If I where I can just show you this mapping. See, at the end when we read this DICOM images, DICOM SR, we saw that the response will be in JSON actually. So you remember the meeting from Arnachalam where he explained the response. I can just show you the response once again. So if you just see, this is how the DICOM web interface response would look. So each tag in the DICOM file will be represented like this, where you put the tag number, tag IDs, and the value corresponding to it, and value what is the type of the value, the data type is put here. Okay, so this is how you will have that SR. For example, if I just show the SR which we have just shown there on the viewer, it maps to this actually. So it is such a huge SR where you have all the details actually. If I just search for example, lesion, sorry, I'm sorry. See, this lesion related stuff, you will have all this details in this module, in this DICOM file actually. This is the one which we are going to use at our input file. So when we use a DICOM web interface, when we ask for this specific ID, we will get this DICOM output, which is in the form of JSON. We take that JSON. Okay, that's your input. Now, using any templating language, Scriban is .NET thing, any other template language, you can use it, where we are going to write this mapping. So this mapping is basically, for example, you see that on the DICOM side, you have fields like tracking unique identifier or tracking identifier, and for example, study instance UID, accession number, and we can also go to our measurements part. If you just see in the measurement, if you have a measurement on that side, you saw that uh, measurement axis is in some integer actually, some value it was shown, that you can map it to for example, value in that you will have to map it. If it is just a number related thing and there is a unit associated with that one, you can map it to value quantity, and you will be able to easily figure that out using this mapping. For example, prostate volume, so that I will encode using value quantity, because there is integer or a decimal number associated with that one, and there is a unit associated with that. Both I should be able to use it, and I should be able to map it actually. So um, for each observation or each finding in the DICOM SR, we will create one observation each. We will not mix everything into one. For each finding, there will be one observation, and the relevant information we'll be putting. And since you have all these things on the left side, what you are seeing, the mapping details, is there in a JSON file, and what you want to generate on the right side is a JSON file. And if you write a template, which basically you have imaging study or observation and template, where the values which you want to replace, for example, the code here, which is codable concept, code will map to you will have to go to the measurement in the DICOM, and then we will have to find the finding measurement related thing, and there will be code which is available in the file actually. So if I just show you example here for prostate volume. Okay, or I can also show you that icon, the file actually. Just give me a second. Last time I think I showed the SNOMED CT and the Radlex thing. I can show it once again. So this is the one. So if I just go into content sequence, and if I just go into the first one, and again go into this, and if I just want to yeah, this is the one. So if I just go to this, see, this talks about the prostate volume, and this volume is identified by this code, okay, and coding designator. These two things would map to your code and system in your observation actually. And this is for the codable concept you put it, and the value will be, see, for example 96.29 would which would map to in the observation, it would map to um, your value quantity, and you will put that value inside this value quantity, where you will put the exact the number. If there is a unit associated with that one, you will put that one. For example, value quantity has this value which is a decimal, and comparator, we might not use comparator, that's okay. If there is a unit, you will have to attach that one, but everything is coming from this DICOM thing itself.
Yeah, Anand,
So
one
what
question.
yeah,
Uh,
Venu.
you said we will create one observation for each value. Is that right?
Correct.
So
That's also is what they have defined actually. So if I just go to this as well. So if you just
no, so is it for each
yeah,
nodule, or how is it from the postman?
yeah,
So how are they mapping to observation? I just want to know.
I'll just show you that. Each of it is actually mapped to this. If you just see, this is what is our result actually.
Okay.
Quantitative evaluation or measurements. This is I mean the example which I showed is this one, measurements. This measurement, if you just see, there are n number of things which are coming from observation, and each one maps to one measurement actually. So if you just see this measurement group, imaging measurement has measurement has measurement group, which is basically mapping to each entity. Here you see that this is inside this is a sequence. Inside this there are sequence items. Each sequence item is actually one observation. You have volume, prostate volume, one observation. You have pyrites, another observation. If there are finding site location is there, that will be a third observation.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
So what we will do, Vinu and others, we will actually, I mean, we have left with only almost a week. Next week we will be already in this. So what we'll do is we'll start this. We'll put this Excel sheet in Google Drive, and we'll start mapping. We'll put this mapping in there actually, and we'll ask people to already start creating these templates actually, and you can already start seeing how your DICOM SR is getting into observation actually. So it's just a mapping which we'll be putting it there, and you will convert that mapping to your separate languages actually.
Yeah. Okay.
That you already tomorrow we'll be having a session on Scriban. At least some templating language will be
Right.
idea will be given to you, and then you can take that further.
Okay. Okay.
Any other questions?
So now, is there a special profile for observation for this in the IG?
Um,
Like,
so
reason I'm
far,
asking is you may not need a lot of fields on the resource. I think.
yeah, but I did not find it. Maybe I can just check that, Venu. But right now, in the IG, I did not see anybody talking about profile yet. Actually, they
Oh,
only talked only about the mapping. This is what is being talked about. But there is no clear profile. But I will check and get back, Venu. I did not check that there is existing. So far, whatever I have read in this IG, I did not see anybody talking about profile.
oh,
But there are hardly much mandatory attributes in observations actually.
oh,
I think whatever we find in our mapping, if we create a resource out of it, that would still pass actually.
oh.
But anyway, I will check that profile part.
So for now, we are
But
using
it
R4.
varies also. It varies also. Sorry, let me. It varies also because if you just see in our product what we are using, when it comes to this cancer, the observation there are multiple profiles actually. For example, prostate volume. There's a I mean, though it is derived from observation, we already have a different profile which talks about what should be the profile if it is coming from NCCN guideline, what should be the profile it is coming from EAU guideline,
Mm,
and the units are also accordingly fixed. I'm not sure whether we will be able to go to that. I
mm,
would still insist we should stick to observation resource and do it. Maybe
mm,
in the coming connectathon we can extend extend that, but for now if we focus on creating observation, that itself is a big task in my opinion, because these mappings we need to
mm,
establish. There are so many uh, derivations out of it actually, which we need to ensure that all we are taking care actually.
mm. Yeah. So we'll be using R4, right?
We'll be using R4, yes.
Okay.
Are there any questions apart from Venu? Okay, so let me go a little more deeper into this actually, just to indicate what and all you should do it. So this is at high level. Please go through this one. We will anyway map this to an Excel sheet where it is much easier uh, for um, for reading. We could also directly use it, but what I prefer is directly each for whatever DICOM web interface response we have. If you are able to map it there, then it is also easier to do it in the templates. Actually, we can just take that JSON path and put it on the template, and it should start working. So it is still at high level, which we can convert it to DICOM web interfaces. That is one thing we will do it over this period. And the second aspect which we should also focus is on the imaging study, but I'll come back that. Uh, uh, I'll just show you other aspects of this measurement. I think we went through this. Then this relationship, you can go through. See, there are some more things which are there in this SR, but we are not focusing, as I already repeated. That patient we will not create because we expect the patient should be already there in our workflow. We will already integrate and keep it. Actually, let's not focus on patient and imaging study will do it. Patient and device will not do it. We'll focus only on observation and imaging study. And then you can also go through this where it actually is talking at high level actually. So what tag in a diagram attribute is mapping to the respective FHIR element. You can again go through this. This sequences, if you are if you are DICOM TID 1500 details with you, you can also Google that. You should be able to map individual elements actually. And in this individual things, you can see that there is a dedicated mapping for all this planar ROI, volumetric ROI, and also the measurements, derived measurements, each one we have a dedicated thing. So what I was just thinking, maybe you can give your comments. We will have smaller groups where we will be having work. I mean, each team can work on independent mappings. Probably one team can work on planar ROI, volumetric ROI measurements. Then I think we should be able to consolidate at the end with various mappings actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, Venu, you had a
Yeah,
question?
that's the best thing. Yeah.
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 Okay. That's I will not go through in detail actually. I think it wouldn't help much if I start explaining you what it maps to, because uh, um, anyway we will have this the mapper, either Excel sheet, or we can use this directly, where we will put all this on the left side JSON thing, and right on the right side. Is there anything you want to go in detail on this part?
Oh, that's fine. We'll come back anyway.
Yeah. Okay. Now I want to show on the imaging study also. So actually I started preparing for this Excel sheet, which I was trying to put. We'll consolidate more. So if you just see for imaging study, it is quite simple as well. Imaging study, you have several fields. The identifier maps to study instance UID, and number of instances mapped to a DICOM tag in your image. Series details are matching to series attributes in your DICOM image, and the instance attributes are this. These are the DICOM attributes. And again, if you just go back to this example, if I just sorry, if I just show you um, 20E. So this is our series instance UID. So in the JSON structure, you know that uh, if you want to put JSON value corresponding to series instance UID, you have to take this slash value, then you take that one and put it in a template, then it will resolve into this stuff actually. So that is what we'll be doing it in tomorrow's thing. So that's about this mapping actually. So this, you should be only knowing the tags from where you will get that one. You will expand this tag into JSON path explicitly, so that it is easier. Yeah, I think I'll share this initial mapping what is created, and also for the observation what I just started. Um, yeah, and that's main thing what I wanted to share. Just wanted to see if is there anything else you want me to go through. I can go through actually.
I have one
Others?
question. I Anand.
Yeah, Hemant. Hi,
Um,
Hemant. Tell me.
yeah. Uh, so I mean, maybe it's a naive question, but this mapping from DICOM SR to the these observations. I mean, is this
Mhm.
driven by some standard, or I mean, how is it?
Yes, 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 yes. I just explained that. I can just show you that. 1 second. Uh, you see this, Hemant?
Mhm.
This is the IG which is being proposed. Actually, that was the whole intention of this. I mean, having this Connectathon as well, because this IG is still work in progress. Actually, it could change as well, but according to the person who I think his name is Jonathan Whitby. When I got in touch with him, he said it is more or less ready actually,
Mhm.
and he would be presenting that one in the next that work group meeting, and it's in December 10th or something. He said if possible, he asked if I could also join, or anybody could join that meeting actually.
Mhm.
So where this is completely a standard thing, Hemant. It is. I mean, we are very early actually. We are actually contributing to that IG. That was also one of the intention. We will review their IG, we will contribute. How do you contribute? You already implement actually. So they, if you just see, if in the IG na, they wanted to do that actually, but I don't see they're working on that mapping yet actually. On the mapping, you mean any code related mapping? Actually, that was not their intention. They're mainly focusing on creating this IG implementation guide, and anybody should be able to implement that, and we are already ahead to take in a draft state, and we are implementing it.
Mhm. Understood. Because I was also thinking on this that we would be having, or we can encounter some sort of private codes, right? Also in the DICOM SR.
Yeah,
So
that is where I think the intention of this interoperability using AIR profile is that we should not use any DICOM private tags. Rather, we should go with this AIR profile. That's the reason this TID 1500 comes into picture, where they have clearly defined what is what tag to be represented, what tag to be used to represent which measurement actually. So that way it should be standardized actually. Unless somebody wants to violate that and do it, I still don't see why. I mean, it could be general thing for DICOM SR, I agree, because many SRs they put lot of things. I think I see in Siemens also we do it, and in other companies also we do it. They do it, but this going with DICOM IHE AIR TID 1500, we are safe. And this IG, they clearly mentioned that they are taking care of this TID 1500 as a reference, which is described in IHE.
okay, understood.
Okay. I think I have already put this links, but I will again put that link as part of Zulip chat. You can already take a look at that.
Okay, sure. Thanks.
Any further questions?
Did you talk about imaging study already, or going to?
Imaging study, I did not see a standard one. It is not part of this IG. I did not see it, Venu. But we know already in the imaging study, I already have the mappings actually. Means generally standard what are being followed are already available. So you see this. This is the imaging study part where all the DICOM tags are there. I will fill the remaining one whatever we have, and this we kind of we know in imaging study is much more standardized. We know that what needs to be going in each of these fields. It's rather very easy for imaging study compared to this SR part.
Okay.
There are very few things actually. For example, it is almost one-to-one mapping. If you see the series, it has a series UID which is mapped to series instance UID, and series number maps to series number of DICOM. Series description maps to series description. Number of instances map to number of instances tag. So everything almost mapping one-to-one actually. So I really don't see much surprise in imaging study, but we will create a Excel sheet for that as well, as I said.
Okay. So now let's assume that we are done with the study and the observation, and we put up an application in front of it. So if the application wants to access any of the, so pardon my ignorance here, any of those
No issues.
tags or anything, I mean the real image behind that. So they will establish a route to the fax, is it?
Yeah, that is where this endpoint will come into picture. You see, this endpoint is the one where it will put this link actually. So you have this, for example, this is one link. You see, this link is a rendered image actually. So if you want to get the DICOM image corresponding to that, finally when you are filling that one, you will put a endpoint here. This endpoint, there is also a standard. You should put that, for example, the relative location, all those things you should put. This already has a certain format actually. See, for example, this endpoint, this part, if you forget it, so it has this DICOM web slash studies, and then followed with the study instance UID, series with series instance UID, and instance with this one. This you can form that endpoint using the related information what you have, and that will be the FHIR, so not FHIR, HTTP request which you send it to your packs to get the details, and then you can render the image.
And I can put a micro DICOM or something like that to view that image, or DICOM viewer.
Yeah, you could build anything on top of that.
Okay.
It's a quite, I mean, as I said, imaging study is quite established, but this DICOM SR2 imaging, I think we have to see how do you consume that one. So that's the reason in this Connectathon, probably I was just thinking to stop it at showing those measurements on the Postman or some kind of application, just to display it and stop it there. We really, ideally, if you have a very good application which can combine these two things, it actually gets the image, it gets this SR which has measurements, and it actually will enable you to draw that measurement on that image as well.
Hmm.
If you have that application which can do that one, you should be able to do it, because it also has the relevant links actually. But yeah, that's all. It's a big project.
Hmm. Yeah.
Some CDS application already do it. I mean, we also have
Hmm.
CDS application, clinical decision support system,
Hmm.
where we show such findings on not on directly on images, but we it will be shown as a finding in the application actually.
Hmm. And so it uses, I mean, I'm asking in terms of security. So,
Yeah,
fact,
security little tedious actually. As I said, um, uh, currently what generally other application they do is they do it outside actually. Means they first establish
yeah.
OAuth based thing. They get the access token and all, and then this request will be hit with that bearer token, and
Hmm.
the application will take care of that actually. Right now, this Orthang and all, you can directly hit and you can get that.
Okay.
So I think for Connectathon, we wouldn't be
Okay. Yeah. So
going
I was
very deep
asking,
into that.
does the facts already implement what?
At least, I mean, I am not very sure which and all packs are
Hmm.
having this full-fledged DICOM web interface. At least on the Siemens side, I don't see any packs having that full DICOM web implementation. Neither GE, I know. I am not sure of Philips actually, but I heard the modern packs which they have some packs have this HTML viewer, and
Hmm.
they do support to this DICOM web interfaces, but I'm not too sure which are the commercial one which are already having this all this flexibility. Right
Hmm.
now it is. I mean, we also have a solution, but it is, as I said, it's outside thing. It is not well integrated yet.
Hmm. Yeah. So in the Connectathon, how are you planning out the 1.5 or 2 days?
Yeah. So in the Connectathon, basically, I think we will have this. various small groups, what we can do, which we can divide into multiple teams. See, the writing templates, I think that is one big thing. Inside that template itself, there are various aspects which we need to take care. And maybe on the .NET application side, where we want to query and pass it, there probably we can get some volunteers who would like to do it on .NET side. If you want to do it on Node.js or
Yeah.
JS JavaScript thing, I think we should be able to do it. So
Yeah.
right now, what I had thought when it was originally envisioned, we wanted to have this one simple .NET application which will do a DICOM web queries, and then it maps to Scriban templates, and it uses a FHIR client to post it to FHIR. That, in my opinion, we have open sources everywhere. We could just put all the pieces together and do it. But I would really welcome if your team members, developers are willing to do it on Node.js. I think we should be able to reuse at least at the concept level.
Yeah, yeah. So Vaibhav is on the call. He's a .NET guy, so can do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then anyway, he could sit away. There are a few colleagues from Siemens who are also already on the .NET. So we'll have this. See, for first and foremost, I wanted to have all the members who are actually part of our team group. So what Satyam mentioned is we should allow everybody to participate in all pre-connectathon sessions till now, so that everybody get the flavor of each. Actually, we should not restrict. So that, having said that, so at least we should start our small work maybe from Sunday, perhaps, actually, or next week, at least a couple of days. If we do pre-work, then it would be easier on Friday and Saturday. Actually, I created a WhatsApp group, but that was tricky because yes, some people were not on WhatsApp. The other part, what we can do is, if you have access to Zulip, you can already put your email ID there. Actually, we don't have that centralized thing where the confirmed participant names are there. But in Zulip, if you go to DICOM, if you start putting your email ID, then I will call for another meeting where we already distribute the work.
Yeah, yeah. So we confirmed our DICOM participants 1 hour ago. So yeah, I'll put all those emails.
Yeah, sure, no, sure. That would be good enough, actually. Okay, are there any further questions? Otherwise, we could have a session on templating tomorrow. That would be, I would, for tomorrow's thing, whether you are a .NET person or not, you shouldn't be worried. Please try to join using your laptops rather than a phone, where you can try out actually. So it will be really kind of a hands-on session. We'll take some examples, and then we will try different things, like how you go through an array, or how do you pick only specific JSON path, or how do you write if condition. So I mean, we'll try different things, whatever available time, what is necessary for Connectathon, we will try to cover. That would be an interesting session tomorrow. Please do join in at 11 o'clock. Don't worry about which templating language. It will still fun to learn that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, then I would stop the
Is
recording.
it at
Okay,
11?
first. It is at 11, yes.
Oh, okay.
I will send the in Zulip. I'll put it, and I'll also send it through WhatsApp, the Zoom link.
Yep. One more follow-up question. Do we need to set up all those open source tools listed part of the track for tomorrow's session?
Not tomorrow session. Tomorrow session, you can just there is one URL where you can try Scribbon templates. Actually, you can, on the left side you can have a JSON, on the right side template, and on the far left right you'll see the result. Whatever you type, it'll start showing actually. So tomorrow you don't need it actually, but for Connectathon it would be good to have those things.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
Even if you don't have access, I mean, still do join in. It is still to, it'd be fun to learn. I mean,
Yep.
don't
Yep,
hesitate
I'm
to.
thinking to join
Yeah.
this track. I have watched few of the recordings already, which was published. Yep.
Okay. Please post your questions if you have anything on Zulip. Happy to. I think there are real good DICOM experts in this group actually. From Siemens, there are experts. From Philips, experts are there. Yeah, I think there is a lot to learn from all the colleagues actually. So, yeah, please post questions actually. That's fine. Okay, then let's wind up the session. Tomorrow, Shlok will be conducting the session, hands-on session, and let's meet at 11 o'clock. Thank you.
Thanks, man. Thanks for all the effort.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.